this is Julie from Spend Less Craft More, and welcome back to my channel after what's been a very long break. I certainly didn't plan it that way, but that's the way that it ended up. But I thought what I would share with you today is my process for the first page that I've made after a long break, and hopefully you might pick up some tips for yourself if you haven't scrapbooked in a long time either. So what you can see me rifling through now is mainly it's the last purchases that I bought from a scrapbooking store. It was right at the end of I think maybe I've scrapbooked once or at the most twice from these products since I bought them. I certainly didn't know at the time that I was going to stop scrapbooking. I wouldn't have bought such a lot of stuff if I had known, but what I did is I kept things together in bags that came from the same collection. So that I'm going through right now is Vicky Bouton All the Good Things. You can see I've got some papers from that collection as well as the embellishments, so I've just put them all together in a bag. So this is actually my first tip for you, is to grab some materials that you've got on hand that you know go well together. If you haven't scrapbooked for ages, it's not the time, I don't think, to be really digging deep into your stash and giving yourself lots of tricky little challenges. Make it easy on yourself. Pick an old kit that you might have or a collection or two that you like that go well together, and just start with some basic items like that. So this next paper pad that I'm going to pull some things out of is Pink Paisley Oh My Heart. And that paper, I don't know if you can tell, but it's got little socks on it, and the page is about my daughter and her cousin wearing matching socks. So that was just perfect. But again, I wouldn't suggest that you go looking for that perfect pattern paper that you think you need. It's just grab some fun things that work well together. So the other things that I'm going to pull to use on this page, once I've got a few pages from this paper pad, is I'm going to pull out a few of the embellishments which I also bought from that collection that I kept again in that bag with the 6-inch pad. I'm going to get a couple of different wood veneers because they were just on hand. There's some new sets that I hadn't opened yet and I wanted to get into them, and some of my my fake enamel dots, which again were just out still on my desk, and I knew there was some colours in there that were going to match. And after that, once I've pulled all my bits and pieces, I will pause the video for a little while and I will go and look for things like my trimmer and some tape and all those sort of basics, and also alphas. So I just picked a couple of alphas. I wasn't going to be worried about getting at my silhouette or doing anything tricky like that. I just wanted to do something really easy for this first page and just be able to whack some stickers onto the page. So guys, this video has taken a bit longer than I planned to upload. I had wanted to get it up for you on New Year's Day. I actually made the page, I think it was the 30th of December, but I didn't get the voiceover finished before we went down to Sydney. My daughter was down there, so we picked her up, did a few jobs, watched the fireworks and came back, and then Maddie and I started watching Marie Kondo's show on Netflix, Tidying Up with Marie Kondo, I think it's called, based on her book, The Magic Art of Tidying Up. And I had wanted to, go through my clothes and a couple of other places that I hadn't had a chance while I've been working the last few months. And I went from that to wanting to Marie Kondo like the entire house. So that's been my focus for the last week or so. I've done most of the bedroom, we've done books. It's been pretty slow. I've got the kids home and Robert's home for another few days before he goes back to work, so it hasn't been the fastest process. It's not been ideal, but that's what's kept me away from the craft room. And in fact, my craft desk, we've finished the books, but then all the CDs had to go somewhere temporarily, so they're all over my craft desk. So I am hoping that while I'm not in the craft room now, in the long term, just getting the house sort of lightened up and freshened up will make things a bit easier, and it will flow on into the craft room. I don't particularly know if I need to really go through the craft stuff. I probably will a little bit. If you don't know the concept of Marie Kondo's book, it's about she kind of talks a lot about things that spark joy. So it's not about decluttering a certain number of items or anything like that. It's about the focus is on keeping only things that spark joy. So I think it is probably a very relevant concept for us in our craft rooms. We all know there's no point keeping things that we think are ugly or out of date. We're not going to use them. So possibly it will mean ultimately that I'll cull probably at least some things in the craft room ultimately. But anyway, back to the page. So as I said, I haven't scrapbooked in a long time. I don't think I've already told you this, I had a full-time contract which kept getting extended, and I ended up working full-time for the last 9 months. That's finished now. And I'm not one of those super women that can work full-time and then come home and do lots of craft and upload videos or whatever, like some of those amazing women out there. So the craft room did just get neglected. So for my first page back, I've already told you my first tip. I thought that I would just choose some products that are on hand, that I don't have to go digging for, and that I know go well together. Normally I'm not big on grabbing everything from the same collection. It sometimes looks a bit matchy to me, but for the sake of getting myself started, I figured that was the easiest way to do it. Just grab some things that I know go together without having to think about it. So that was my first tip. My second tip for you is to just pick a page or a theme that's going to be easy to scrapbook. Now's not the time to scrapbook something that you're going to need to do a lot of research for your journaling. It's not the time to do something that's going to be kind of very emotional for you to scrapbook. So this page, I just found one. It's just a picture of my daughter and her little cousin who absolutely loves Maddie, and the feeling's mutual. They love each other, and it was just so cute. They was both just happened to have little bunny socks, and it seemed like a really cute little mini me photo to take. When we see Caitlin, she's often wearing Maddie's hand-me-downs as well, and most of the clothes that she's wearing in that photo were once Maddie's, so it's just a nice way to document that. So I knew it wasn't going to be a lot of intense journaling. There was going to be nothing hard or complicated in it. The hardest thing was just going to be to quickly work out what date it was, and I'd be able to add that later. So as I've been chattering on, you've seen me just working on this page and building up my layers. I've inked all my edges. Now if you've watched my videos before, you might already know that while I am about kind of stash busting, I still am on, I guess, more the frugal end of the spectrum. So what I'm sticking down now is the packaging strip off that 12-inch paper that I used. Especially pretty packaging strips like that, when I do keep them, I find it hard to throw them away. So if I'm able to use them straight away, that's great. I just don't like to waste things. And that brings me to my third and final tip for you, which is just for this page, getting you back into scrapbooking, is stick with a page design that works for you. So now, not that you can't, but not that you can't try something new and different, but I'm just suggesting that you do something that's familiar to you, that you know is going to work and is going to suit your style. So how are you guys all going anyway? Let me know in the comments, if you like, of how your stash busting journey is going. I hope it's going better than mine has been for the last little while, or that if it hasn't been going that well either, let me know if any of these tips have been at all helpful. I can't make any promises at the moment of what my craft journey is going to be like, or my YouTube presence is going to be like this year. I do hope to get back into it, but first of all, I obviously have to get at least a little bit further in this tidying up process. Once kids are back at school and my husband's back at work, things will speed up, although I'm hoping I'll have got at least a little bit further before the kids are back at school. That's another few weeks away, and I don't know what my work is going to be like this year. I'll be back to casual at least for a little while, which is, very erratic and you can't plan. But I'm hoping that once I've got some tidying out of the way, yeah, I'll at least be a little bit more regular in the craft room, and that I'll find some sort of process and rhythm, and I can let you know then what I'm hoping to do. Okay, so I'm up to my titling now, and I think I do this a little bit off camera, but the way that I often will position my titles is by just popping them onto some little rulers. Clear rulers are ideal, and moving them around the page a little bit to position them. The way that I chose my titling stickers was obviously colour and size, but also just what had the letters that I wanted. It took me a little while to find an alpha that I wanted with two eyes, which is why I do like to often do my own titles on the silhouette. You don't get stuck with trying to find enough vowels or whatever. But in the end, I've got the flat black stickers, and those are sort of puffy, sparkly pink alphas for the me. And in the end, I thought that worked quite well. So I'm just going to finish, I guess, embellishing the page now. So I might leave you with a little bit of music. And again, thanks for watching. Thanks for enjoying being on this journey, I guess, with me. And I'll catch you guys soon, either here or over on our Facebook page. All right, see ya.